Donald Trump, a billionaire real estate mogul, rode a wave of populist fervour all the way to the most powerful political office. His 2016 success broke all the conventions, defied the pundits and the polls. It was simply one of the most stunning upsets in US history. And now, 4 years later, he has to do it again. Just like in 2016, the polls now suggest Trump is a long shot and he's up against an opponent with decades of political experience. But unlike then, he's not really an outsider. He has 4 years of actions and mistakes to be measured by. So how does he do it? How does he again defy predictions and win re-election? Well, this week's Republican Party National Convention gave us quite an insight. 4 days of speeches, emotive video montages, and direct pitches to the American public revealed Trump's 2020 plan. Among the patriotic rhetoric,
life, liberty, freedom, and the American flag.
The heart-tugging stories and peculiar performances.
The best is yet to come!
Were telling tidbits of Trump tactics, moments which revealed the campaign's likely focus for the weeks ahead. The emphasis given to certain topics during the convention suggests their high importance for his re-election bid. For particular topics and political plays, Team Trump seems to consider vote and election winners.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The first play, play the man. In this case, make him a radical socialist boogeyman.
Joe Biden and the socialist left.
Far-left democratic socialist agenda.
Biden's radical left-wing policies.
Joe Biden coddled socialist dictators.
Biden is a Trojan horse for socialism.
But this play could be easily countered. Actual socialists, or even progressives, will tell you Biden is hardly Karl Marx. During around 4 decades in politics, Biden's called for welfare cuts, supported wars, backed massive corporate bailouts, endorsed the notorious crime bill, which dramatically increased prisoner numbers, and more recently said he'd veto Medicare for all.
The Joe Biden of 20 years ago as a centrist and as a moderate is not the Joe Biden today. Really strikes a nerve with the American people that see a very concerning tilt of the Democrat Party of just being beholden to the most liberal and extreme wings.
Joe Biden may be leading in the polls, but he's not exactly widely loved. A Wall Street Journal NBC poll found 58% of those who say they are voting Biden say they are voting against Trump rather than for the former VP. Attacks on Biden's character and alleged corruption could strike with unenthusiastic voters.
Come on, Joe. Talk to the folks in Middle America who lost countless jobs to China while your son was getting rich with them.
Joe Biden is basically the Loch Ness Monster of the swamp.
The second play from the Trump 2020 playbook, go extra hard on crime. Law and order is always a key election issue, even more so now, with massive and sometimes violent Black Lives Matter and police brutality protests held across the country.
The Republican Party condemns the rioting, looting, arson, and violence we have seen in Democrat-run cities.
Trump's touting himself as tougher on crime while being more compassionate with prisoners. Advocates highlighted recent justice reforms at the convention, and the president even pardoned a former bank robber turned ex-offender advocate during the event. Team Trump's third play is to go after the African-American vote.
And I say very modestly that I have done more for the African-American community than any president since Abraham Lincoln.
African-American voters, particularly those who don't usually vote, could decide this election. In 2016, around 3.3 million who were eligible to vote in swing states didn't. Though around 9 in 10 African-American voters typically vote Democrat, Republicans are making a pitch for those uninspired by Biden.
Mr. Vice President, look at me. I am black. We are not all the same, sir. I am not in chains. My mind is my own. And you can't tell me how to vote because of the color of my skin.
The fourth apparent key focus for the Trump campaign is perhaps the trickiest. Claim success in the battle against COVID-19.
Like those brave Americans before us, we are meeting this challenge. We are delivering life-saving therapies, and will produce a vaccine before the end of the year, or maybe even sooner.
A recent Reuters Ipsos poll found the majority of Americans consider it the issue most affecting their vote. 39% believe Trump has handled the pandemic poorly, according to Morning Consult polling. US has the most recorded COVID cases and deaths. The virus has infected nearly 6 million Americans and killed more than 180,000. Their numbers hard to spin.
You look at Trump's approval rating and sort of the statistics on COVID and on the virus and pandemic specifically, Americans really don't like how he's handled that. It makes sense for them to try to lift those numbers, but I think they're going to have a hard time given the mounting death count.
Attacking Biden as a corrupt radical, being extra hard on crime, going after the black vote, and branding the president's handling of the pandemic a success. They weren't the only focuses at the convention, but were the most prominent, and likely will continue to be on the campaign trail.
Well, I think we're going to continue to see the theme of Biden's left-leaning extremism. We're also going to see the theme of Trump playing up what he's gotten done. You look at criminal justice reform, you look at spirits of American unity, the goals around economic recovery.
Trump has quite a bit of ground to make up, though. Today's YouGov The Economist poll has him trailing Biden by 9 points nationally. Aggregate polling from Real Clear Politics has Trump ahead in just 4 of the 17 battleground states. The pomp and spectacle of the convention may give Trump a poll bump. The president has a playbook and 66 days to secure 4 more years.
If Trump can get that approval rating up, or if he can drive Biden's favorability down and sort of get voters who dislike both of them, then he has a shot.